Hi guys and welcome back to Inquisitive Thinking. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day. This is the part 2 of our quadratic equation series. If you're new to this channel, please go ahead and check out part 1. So today we are going to cover following topics. First is methods for solving a quadratic equation. Second is solution through factorization method. Third is visual proof of completing the square method. And fourth, solution through completing the square method. Before we start, there are two prerequisites. First is writing material, just in case you find something important or you want to solve the questions alongside, which is highly advisable. And second thing is stay distraction free for next 30 minutes. If you're ready, then let us start. Our first topic is methods for solving a quadratic equation. There are three methods for solving a quadratic equation. First is factorization method. Second is completing the square method, and in third method we use quadratic formula. In this video we are going to cover first two topics. So out of these three methods we are solving using factorization method. What is meant by factorization of a quadratic expression? It is actually a process of expressing a quadratic as the product of its factors. Let us look at this quadratic expression. X square minus a plus b into x plus ab. Now this quadratic expression can also be expressed as x minus a into x minus b, which are nothing but linear factors of our given quadratic expression. Now remember, factorization is reverse process of expanding the brackets. It means if you expand the brackets, you will get back to the original quadratic expression. Now let us suppose we are given a quadratic equation x square minus a plus b into x plus ab is equal to 0. So the above equation can also be rewritten as x minus a into x minus b is equal to 0. Now the condition here says that the product of two linear factors is equal to 0. It means either x minus a is equal to 0 or x minus b is equal to 0. From the first condition we'll have the value of x is equal to a, and from second condition we'll have the value of x equal to b. So we'll say that the above equation, which is this above given equation, has two roots, x is equal to a and x is equal to b. Now let's find the roots of some quadratic equations using factorization method. Our first equation is 6x square minus 19x plus 10 is equal to 0. So first thing that we need to do is factorize the given quadratic expression. 6x square minus 19x plus 10 can also be rewritten as 6x square minus 15x minus 4x plus 10 by splitting the middle term, that is minus 19x, and writing it as minus 15x minus 4x. Subsequently, we'll get two factors, 3x minus 2 and 2x minus 5. And one by one we'll equate both of these factors to 0 and get the corresponding values of x. That is in this case 2 by 3 and 5 by 2. So we'll say that the given quadratic equation has two distinct roots, x is equal to 2 by 3 and x is equal to 5 by 2. Moving on towards the second question, that is minus x square plus 4x minus 4 is equal to 0. Now factorize the quadratic expression first. The given quadratic expression can also be rewritten as minus x square plus 2x minus 4 by splitting the middle term 4x into 2x plus 2x. After subsequent factorization, we'll get two factors, x minus 2 and 2 minus x, and one by one we'll put these factors equal to 0 and then find the corresponding value of x, which in this case is going to be equal. From both of these factors, we'll have the value of x equal to 2. So we'll say that the given equation has two equal roots, x is equal to 2 and x is equal to 2. You can even verify by putting the value of x in the given quadratic equation. Okay, our third example is x square minus 49 is equal to 0. The drill is same. We'll factorize the quadratic expression first. That is x square minus 49. Here I can factorize it right away using this identity, a square minus b square is equal to a minus b into a plus b. So x square minus 49 can also be rewritten as x plus 7 into x minus 7. One by one, we'll put these factors equal to 0 and calculate the value of x. So x is coming out to be 7 and minus 7. So we'll say that the given equation has two distinct roots, x is equal to 7 and x equal to minus 7. Now we are moving on towards our second method of finding the solution of quadratic equation, which is completing the square. But what is actually meant by completing the square? This is a technique of expressing a quadratic as a sum of a perfect square and a constant. So we are moving ahead to visual proof of completing the square method. Suppose we are given a quadratic expression ax square plus bx plus c, which can also be rewritten as ax into x plus b into x plus c into 1. If you look at this first expression, first term, ax and x represent the length and breadth of the rectangle respectively. So ax into x represents, you guessed it right, the area of the rectangle. Similarly, b into x and c into 1 also represent the areas of respective rectangles. Now this red rectangle has a length ax and breadth x. So the corresponding area becomes ax into x, which is written here, the first term. Adding the area of second rectangle, which is actually b into x. So the length is b and breadth is x. Adding another area of rectangle having length c and breadth 1. So here we are provided with three rectangles. Area of first rectangle is ax into x, which is represented by the first term. Adding second rectangle's area, which is represented by b into x, second term. And area of third rectangle is represented by third term here, c into 1. What we are going to do is, we'll divide the whole expression by a. So after dividing the whole expression by a new expression emerges, that is x into x plus b by a into x plus c by a into 1. As a result of which, the dimensions of rectangles will also get changed. Earlier, the area of first rectangle was ax into x, now it is x into x. So it means the new length and breadth of the rectangle becomes x and x respectively. So it is now a square. If we are moving on towards the second term, which represents the area of our new second rectangle, green rectangle, that is b by a into x. So the length of new rectangle is b by a and breadth remains the same, that is x. Adding the area of third rectangle, that is c by a into 1. So our new rectangle becomes, so the length of our new rectangle becomes c by a, while breadth remains the same. Now what I am going to do in the next step is divide this rectangle in two equal parts, such that the breadth remains the same, that is x, but the length get halved for both of these rectangles. And after that, I'll attach these two strips of rectangles, one here and one over here. And now we'll have something like this. It is important to note that I have not added anything extra. I've just shifted the strips from one place to another, so nothing is being added, so the original expression still remains the same. Okay, now let's move on to our newly generated figure. You'll see that there's still a void over this place. If I want to fill this void, if I want to fill this blank, I'll have to add another rectangle, or in this case a square, having length b by 2a and breadth also b by 2a. So let us suppose I'm adding this newer square having side b by 2a. This is something from outside. It means if I'm adding this area in this figure, I'll have to add the area in the original expression. That is b by 2a into b by 2a, which here represents the area of our new smaller square. Now, in order to keep the neutrality of this expression, I'll have to subtract the same area, which is now represented by minus b by 2a into b by 2a. Okay, in the next step, I'm going to club the values of b by 2a into b by 2a and rewrite the whole expression as x into x plus b by a into x plus b by 2a's whole square minus b by 2a's whole square plus c by a into 1. In the next step, I'm going to move this square to this place such that it perfectly fits, and now our square is completed. You see, the length of our square is x plus b upon 2a and breadth is also x plus b upon 2a. So the length and breadth can be rewritten as this. As of now, we still have three figures. One is a square having side x plus b by 2a, another one also a square having side b by 2a, and third one is a rectangle having length c by a and breadth 1. Pay attention to this expression over here. If you look at the first three terms, you'll see that you can rewrite these three terms as x plus b by 2a's whole square, which is actually the area of our new square. So, for a quadratic equation, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. If we divide both sides of equation by a, we get something like this: x square plus b by a into x plus c by a is equal to 0, and which can also be rewritten as x plus b by 2a whole square minus b by 2a's whole square plus c by a is equal to 0, which we just got from our visual proof or completing the square method. Now remember, this expression will be used later while deriving the quadratic formula. Now our next topic is solution through completing the square method. So following are the steps that you can follow to solve a quadratic equation. First is check whether the coefficient of x square is 1. If it is, well and good. If not, then we'll divide the whole equation with that coefficient, that is a. In the next step, we'll add and subtract the square of half coefficient of x, that is b by 2a. b by 2a is the half coefficient of x, and we'll have to add and subtract the square of b by 2a in our given quadratic equation. In the third step, we'll identify the terms which make a perfect square of some expression and factorize them using a suitable identity. In the fourth step, we'll take all the constant terms on right hand side such that the perfect square and constant terms are on the either sides of the equal sign, and then we'll take the square roots on both sides. And in the last step, we'll find the value of x. Now time to use this technique to find the solution of quadratic equations. So our first question is 6x squared minus 7x plus 2 is equal to 0. According to our first step, we'll have to make the coefficient of x square equal to 1. In this case, we'll have to divide the whole expression by 6, such that our new expression becomes x squared minus 7 by 6 x plus 2 by 6 is equal to 0. Now according to our second step, we'll have to add and subtract the square of half coefficient of x. Now remember, the coefficient of x here is minus 7 by 6. So half coefficient of x becomes minus 7 by 12. But in the subsequent step, I am adding and subtracting 7 by 12 instead of square of 7 by 12 instead of minus 7 by 12. The reason is quite obvious. Since we are squaring some quantity, minus sign won't matter. So instead of writing minus 7 by 12 whole square, I am writing directly 7 by 12 whole square. You can even write minus 7 by 12 whole square, the answer is going to be the same. Okay. Now we have added and subtracted square of half coefficient of x in our given quadratic equation. If you look at the first three terms of a quadratic equation, they are nothing but the square of x minus 7 by 12. So we'll club these first three terms and rewrite them as x minus 7 by 12 whole square. Using the identity x minus y whole square is equal to x square minus 2xy plus y square. So after factorizing first three terms, we'll have x minus 7 by 12 whole square minus 7 by 12 whole square plus 1 by 3. According to our next step, we'll have to take all the constant terms on the right hand side, such that we'll have something like this. After simplifying the right hand side, we'll have something like x minus 7 by 12 whole square is equal to 1 upon 144. Now taking square roots on both sides, we'll have x minus 7 by 12 is equal to plus minus 1 by 12. So at first, we'll take x minus 7 by 12 equal to minus 1 by 12, from where we can get the value of x equal to 1 by 2. And second, we'll equate x minus 7 by 12 to 1 by 12. And from there, we'll get the value of x 2 by 3. So we'll say that the given equation has two distinct roots, x is equal to 1 by 2 and x is equal to 2 by 3. Moving on towards the second example, that is x square plus 8x plus 16 is equal to 0. The first thing that we are going to check is whether the coefficient of x square is 1 or not. In this case, it is. So we don't have to divide the equation with any number. So our next step says we'll have to add and subtract the square of half coefficient of x. Coefficient of x here is plus 8. So the half of the coefficient becomes 4. It means we have to add and subtract square of 4. So when you solve the left hand side of this equation, you'll get back to the original expression. That is x square plus 8x plus 4 square. It means 16. In such cases, it is an indication that a given quadratic expression is already a perfect square of certain quantity. Upon closer inspection, we can write x plus 4 whole square is equal to 0, since x plus 4 whole square is equal to x square plus 8x plus 16. Okay, x minus 4 whole square is equal to 0. Taking square root on both sides, we'll have x plus 4 is equal to 0. From there, we have the value of x equal to minus 4. But remember, it does not say that there is only one root of this equation. It says that there are roots, but they are equal. The given equation has two equal roots, x is equal to minus 4 and x is equal to minus 4. Moving on towards the third example, that is x square minus 3x plus 6 is equal to 0. So again, coefficient of x square is 1. So there is no need to divide equation with any number. Our second step says we'll have to add and subtract square of half coefficient of x, which is in this case minus 3. But I'm not going to put minus sign. I'll just do 3 by 2 and add and subtract the square of it. So further it becomes x square minus 3x plus 3 by 2 whole square minus 3 by 2 whole square plus 6 is equal to 0. Now if you see first three terms, upon closer inspection you can see that it is a perfect square of x minus 3 by 2 whole square. So we'll factorize first three terms and write them as x minus 3 by 2 whole square, and the remaining terms remains the same, minus 3 by 2 whole square plus 6 is equal to 0. Now according to our next step, we'll have to take all the constant terms on the right hand side, such that now the equation becomes x minus 3 by 2 whole square is equal to 9 by 4 minus 6, which upon simplification is written as minus 15 by 4. But what does this equation means? Left hand side is a perfect square of certain quantity, whereas right hand side is a negative number, which is impossible since we know square of a term can never be negative. Here we say that there is no real value of x for which LHS is equal to RHS, so the given equation has no real roots. Please pay attention, I'm not saying that there are no roots. It is written there are no real roots. So guys, our today's discussion ends here. If you got to learn something new today, give this video a thumbs up. We will meet in the next video where we will discuss about quadratic formula and discriminant and nature of roots. Till then, keep solving as many questions as possible and stay inquisitive. I'll meet you in the next one.